Jubal Early, my commanding officer, witnessed with his own eyes the burning of homes, businesses, schools, even the notable Virginia Military Institute. All of this was done without provocation and without notice.
He is ordered to pay $100,000 in gold or $500,000 in Yankee greenbacks.
$100,000?
If this demand is not met, Chambersburg will be burned.
What? Burned?
That much money, sir?
Chambersburg must pay $100,000 in gold or $500,000 in greenbacks. If you fail to meet this demand, we will burn Chambersburg.
Just go home and get some money.
I suggest you do.
How can we pay this?
This, sir, is the tribute you must pay to save your city. Well, sir, I'll give you some time to think about it. Troopers, let's start settling up there. Put some debris on these courthouse steps. This looks like a structure we need to start with. Let's get our dirty business started. You have a few more moments to raise the ransom.
Make way!
Not fine for sure. I suggest you go about the business of raising some money, sir. Time is wasted.
We do not have that kind of money in this town, sir.
Come on, troopers. Bring it on through here.
You need to find a way to come up with it, sir. The time will burn.
And so, just like that, the people of Chambersburg, one clear July morning, their lives were interrupted once again by the American Civil War. A ransom was exacted on their town, a town that was not unlike any other here on the border between North and South. But on that day was a very unlucky place to be. The folks here, maybe because they had seen so many soldiers pass through their town before, didn't give much heed to the warning. Several times earlier in the war, cavalry troopers had ridden into town. General Champ Stewart himself had been here in Chambersburg. And so the town fathers, myself included, we didn't give much heed when General McCausland came into town on July the 30th. When the burning began, it began right here in the center of town.
Very good. Continue. Mr. Hoke, I suspect you do not take our threat seriously. This brave band of 900 cavalrymen have infiltrated Pennsylvania after already making this demand upon Frederick, Maryland, and Hagerstown. The fine citizens of those two Maryland communities had the good sense to pay. But I get the distinct impression that this ransom will not be paid. On the orders of Jubal Anderson Early, my commanding officer, I hereby order that the town of Chambersburg shall be burned. Fire the town!
And so squads of men roamed through these very streets, walked up these very stairs, and set fire to the heart of our city. There were many who tried to stop them. There were many pleas for assistance and for help, but that help and assistance was not given, save for one man in the Confederate Army who felt that this was an outrage.
Colonel Gilmore, Colonel Gilmore, come to me at once. Over here, sir. I have some instructions for you. I want you to start with the courthouse, then move on to the town hall, and then down Main Street. Light this town ablaze.
Sir, being given by your order. Many women and children in this town.
I know there are, Colonel, but as you know, we serve under the command of Jubal Anderson Early, and it is by his order that we shall do this. He is my commanding officer. He is yours. You shall follow these orders. Burn this town.
Sir, I have faithfully followed the cause of the Confederacy. But, sir, this is not honorable. This is wrong.
I understand, Colonel, and I thank you for your service. But you, sir, are being insubordinate. You are dismissed. Rejoin your regiment at once.
Yes, sir.
We shall deal with this later.
The courthouse is afire. The whole center of town will soon be ablaze. The flames, before it's over, will lick so high above our heads that it will create its own weather system. All the flames meeting right above the diamond and swirling in a vortex in smoke and flame. It was virtually hell on earth here in Chambersburg. Women and children running every which way. Buckets being dipped in the stream just west of town. But to no avail, there was nothing here that could be saved. Pretty soon, there was nothing in the center of town but fleeing and crying and devastation.
Fitzhugh, make sure your men are checking with the Masonic Temple. I understand there is a guard there protecting it.
Yes, sir.
Direct someone to verify that.
Gather men. Make sure it's learned.
To those of you who may not be familiar with our town, let me paint for you a picture of what it was like to have been here that July afternoon in 1864. Why, in every direction here from the diamond, south, west, north, east, every block was filled with flames. Why, an 86-year-old woman right around the corner from here, across the street from my store, was so overcome by what was going on that she fainted. The Confederates stepped over her body and burned her house anyway. Why, the wife of our jeweler here in town had just passed away. She had died with the fever, and her young infant daughter had the fever too. Her body was laid out in the front room of her house, being prepared for burial on the day that the Confederates came to town. And then the Confederates came here. They beat and pounded on her door. And the grief-stricken husband came to the door and said that there was death in this house. And yet, they heeded not, broke right inside the doors, and burned the house anyway. Several of us got together and ran across the street to help that poor husband grab up the dead, lifeless body of his poor departed wife, and we quickly buried it in the garden behind the house.
Good work, good work. Let's continue on this way. Let's let it burn.
Yes, sir. Forward. Should have paid up.
Soon, anywhere that you went here in town, the flames grew higher and higher. And those of us who had stayed behind to try and help save some belongings, some of the things that we owned, were almost caught here, cut off from the rest of the town. And we huddled right here where you're standing, right in the center of town in a small group. It was a pitiful sight. There were small children with mothers holding their skirts over those children's faces so that they wouldn't be singed from the heat. At one point, we took mattresses And those mattresses filled with straw and corn husks, we built almost in a shield around some of those small children, right here in the diamond, as the smoke and flame grew worse and worse. Before long, there was nothing left here in the downtown, here on the diamond. Soon, it was only the outskirts of town that were left. If you made it to the stream, you were safe. We waited and waited, thinking that our militia would come at any minute. There was New York militia nearby, and there was a general with a cavalry squadron in Greencastle, not too far away. But no help came. Citizens who were crouched and hiding inside their homes were soon driven out by the smoke and flame. And before too long, all that was left were the outskirts of town.
Captain Fitzhugh, make sure that all your men are mounted and accounted for. Major Gilmore, assemble your regiment. Let's leave this place. Let's let Chambersburg burn to the ground.